Hey, what's up, cats and kittens? And shout out to all my cerebralites. It is she, the Cerebral Diva, and I'm back with another episode of RealiTEA, and that's TEA because I give it to you scalding hot. So grab your cups, grab your saucers, gather around, and let's all partake in this libation of Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 10, Part 3, Reunion Tea. Alright, so it's no longer historical as it was last year. At this point, I guess it's redundant. So, Part 3 of Season 10 Reunion went down last night. And when I say it went down, it went all the way down. It was tough to watch at some points. It was a little funny at some points. But it really centered around Kim Zolciak. And it was amazing because Kim really didn't have that strong of a presence, or at least not a physical presence during this past season. But she stirred up enough trouble for them to sort of drag her through the dirt, and deservingly so, for a complete hour. So we saw in season 2 that it concluded with Nene and Kim, sort of going at each other. And this episode was really just a continuation of that. Now I will say this: Nene's, to me, for this whole Part 3 reunion, if there were an award for the best reader, Kenya Moore won hands down. I don't know who's been tutoring her. I don't know what's been going on, but she came out guns blazing this season, or for the very least for this reunion. So when Kim and Nene were going back, Nene just comes across angry and aggressive. And then what I noticed is that it's only Kim. Now, I'm not sure if it's a race thing, if it's a black versus white thing, or if it's just the level of acrimony and disdain that Nene harbors for Kim. But every time, it seems like Nene is really on the precipice of violence as it relates to Kim. While she will get mad and upset at some of the other girls, I don't see her really willing to put her hands on someone the way she does with Kim. I assure you, if they were in a room by themselves, if Andy was not around, there's no possible way that anyone can tell me that Kim Zolciak would not be in imminent danger from being in Nene's presence. And even if they were in a room together, chances are a lot of the things that Kim is saying in front of other people, she would definitely temper her disposition, because she knows that she wouldn't want the outcome to turn physical. Anyhow, it's just one of those observations. Like, I've seen Nene get into it with Phaedra. I've seen her get into it with Candy. I've seen her get into it with Kenya. But I've never seen her, even with Portia, I've never seen her get to the point where she's like sort of at the point of launching towards that person. Even when she and Claudia were getting into it, I never saw that from her. But for some reason, there's just something about Kim that really takes Nene to that place. And like I said, maybe it's a race thing. Maybe it's the fact that it's a white woman saying it to her that elevates her anger to a higher place. So anyhow, since we're talking about race, let's talk about race. It was really interesting, and I'm going to jump around a little bit here, because at one point, the Kim bashing, you know how, like, I'm one of those people, right? I'm super empathetic, and probably to a fault. Like, I'm one of those people who, if someone murdered someone and they were on death row and they had, for some reason, found God in the 11th hour, I'd be one of those people saying, give them a second chance. I know it's a character flaw that I need to work on, but it's just, I don't know, I have a big heart. What can I say? So I'm one of those people who tends to be forgiving. Now, I don't forget. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a dummy by any stretch of the imagination. So forgiving, it's completely different from forgetting. So I can forgive you, but still not F with you. And that's typically the route that I would take in these instances. And I say that to say this. So during tonight's episode, while they were bashing Kim, because there was so much bashing happening, I started to feel a little sorry for her. Even though everything that she was getting she deserved, I felt like it got a little heavy, a little dark at one point, because it was coming from, I mean, every single point. She couldn't block it with Wonder Woman's bracelets. It was just, there were bullets coming from every single direction. Nene was on her. Even Cynthia, docile, diminutive, kind-hearted Cynthia was like not here for any of Kim's shenanigans. So she had Nene, she had Kim, she had Kenya, even Candy. I shouldn't say even Candy, because her and Candy got into a big thing, because Candy accused, Kim accused Candy of wanting to eat her out, basically, which she later corrected and said that wasn't true. So because of that, and because of the allegations that happened last year, Candy, of course, was here for none of that. So she went in on Kim. Cynthia went in, and then her. And one of the things I didn't like about Kim is, like, if you've watched this season or the past season, you know that the only beef that Kim has with Sheree is really secondhand beef. Like, I'm sorry, with Kenya. It's secondhand beef because you injected yourself into a situation with Kenya and Sheree. And you came in and you, for whatever reason, felt like you wanted to poke your chest out, and now you've created this hostility between you and Kenya that did not exist, and Kenya has basically obliterated you and embarrassed you, and now you're making it seem like you're the victim. And I want to go back really quick and just talk about the race card before I get in a whole other place. So last night, towards the end of the episode, Andy is summoned into the bathroom. And so Kim is in there with Croy, her boyfriend slash chauffeur slash chef slash Manny slash makeup artist slash hairdresser slash wig sitter. So she's in the bathroom with Croy, and they call Andy in there, and they're basically calling Andy in there to corner him and shoot him out. And I loved Andy in this particular instance because when they called him in there, they were sort of ambushing him and basically saying, like, you set me up to be bullied and to basically take on this barrage and this hail of bullets from all of these black women. And I say black women because she made the point of saying, well, Nene called Kim at one point privileged, and he also talked about the incident with the Roaches and said that they had some racial connotations to it. Now I will say this. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, what have you. Roaches do not discriminate. Typically, and roaches, the thing about roaches is roaches don't care if your house is clean or dirty. Really the only thing that's going to get rid of roaches is probably a good exterminator. So when Kim says that Nene has roaches, I personally, as an African American, I don't see the racial undertones to that, and maybe I'm just oblivious for whatever reason. So I did feel like it was a bit of a quantum leap to say that Kim saying that Nene has roaches is somewhat racist. To me, it's really just, a lot of people think of roaches as being unsanitary, so I could see if she said that her house was the implication was that Nene keeps a dirty house. So then I can understand it, but I didn't necessarily see racial. And so when they accused Kim of playing the race card in that particular instance, I did not necessarily agree with what they had to say. But when they went into the bathroom and they were talking with Andy, and when I say they, I'm talking about Kim and Croy, when they cornered Andy in the bathroom, Kim said something to, and I'm paraphrasing here, she said something along the lines of, you wonder why you can't get another white woman to sit on this cast with African American women, and it was now that's when it took on a racial undertone to me, because like I look at episodes or look at franchises, right? Like I don't just watch the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I watch Beverly Hills, I watch New York, and I watch Orange County. Not into New Jersey. I don't even watch Potomac, honestly. But those are the ones that I really like. And I keep saying to myself, well, why couldn't Kenya move to New York with her boyfriend who works there and who's a restaurateur? And why couldn't we just take Kenya and put her in the New York franchise? Or why couldn't Nene, who is an aspiring actress, why can't we take her, put her out in LA and put her on the Beverly Hills franchise? So it seems like Bravo, for whatever reason, compartmentalizes based on race. But whenever there's a black cast, for whatever reason, there always has to be a token white. Even if you look at dating shows, and I know some people are going to get mad at me for what I'm about to say, but so what? But like if you look at a show like The Bachelor may throw one black girl on there, right? And we all know when we watch the show, this black girl is not going to be chosen. We all know that, but they do it just for the sake of appearance, just for the optics. Same thing with now when you flip the script and you take a dating show like Flavor of Love, I Love New York, For the Love of Ray J. You're not going to get one white girl. You're probably going to get, at the very least, a third of the cast will be non-black. And so we take it upon ourselves to integrate and to make an even greater stride in proving that we're trying to be inclusive, whereas a lot of times people who are non-black don't necessarily feel compelled to do the same thing. So when you talk about racism, I think that Kim's point is a little bit of her sort of complaining about racism, or being accused of reverse racism, but then she turned around and played the race card. So in my opinion, it sort of diffused her argument, because she used race when it was convenient for her, because it really didn't have anything to do. The reason that they were screaming and yelling at you was not because you were a white woman. It was because you're a character flawed woman. It was because you like to throw grenades and then hide your hands. And so you can't do that. I don't care if you're black, white, whatever race you are. If you pick fights, then chances are you're going to get hit, or people are going to fight you back. So now that people are fighting you back and they happen to be black, you can't turn this into a race issue. You knew from the very beginning when you walked into this cast that it was an all-black cast, and you chose to be there. And this all-black cast has essentially elevated you to the point that you're able to have your own show. Now, outside of this show, I remember watching Tardy for the Party, and I also think it was on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. There was a stylist that Kim used to deal with, and I can't think of the girl's name. But Kim used to really say some racist things to this girl that made me really uncomfortable. And I remember watching it and cringing and wanting this girl to speak up and correct Kim in a lot of instances. So even though I don't think that the Roach thing was necessarily racist, I do think that there is an element of racism that is ingrained into Kim, and she may not even be aware of it. So I just wanted to touch on that. So moving on from Kim, because basically that was the entire episode was Kim getting dragged. They also talked about Sheree and Nene and this dude Tyrone, and I don't know. I think Sheree looks. First of all, Sheree is bipolar, right? Because on one hand, she's saying how she's in love and she's committed and she's ready to get married to him. But then when they cornered her last night, she admitted that she was seeing other people, and that if he didn't get out by a certain date and time, that she would get out by a certain date and time. And when I say get out of the relationship. Well, first of all, baby doll, you shouldn't even be in a relationship to begin with. But it's none of my business. You know, if jailbirds are your thing, go for it. But I personally would not waste my time on a man who's in jail. So when they cornered her, they asked her, and I don't know if she was just saying that she was dating other people because she didn't want to look silly, or she was saying she was dating other people because she's genuinely dating other people. But in any case, even if she is dating other people, it seems like she's fully and wholly committed to this relationship with Tyrone. And let me say this, just because I wouldn't do something, and just because it goes against societal norms, doesn't necessarily make it a wrong thing, you know, because love can exist in the darkest of places. You know, love can happen when you least expect it to. And I hope for Sheree's sake that it turns out to be genuine love, and that this is a man who is going to honor her and treat her well. You know, I would take absolutely no pleasure in saying, haha, I told you so, look at you, you fell on your face. You know, this man has hoodwinked, he bamboozled you, he didn't land on Plymouth Rock, Plymouth Rock landed on you. Like, I don't want to see her get taken to the cleaners by Tyrone. I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen. But let's face it, like, if Sheree were not Sheree Whitfield, right, I might think that his goal was to use her. But whether you love her or hate her, I think Sheree is pretty. I think Sheree is of reasonable intelligence. I think that Sheree has a lot of cachet given her platform that could really help the right man not just elevate himself, but elevate her as well, if he's as enterprising as he is. Because one of the things I always say about criminals, right, if they took that criminal activity and channeled it into a legitimate professional business, they could be a beast. And so maybe having Sheree, and knowing now that you're on a national platform, even though that didn't stop Apollo, knowing that you're on a national platform, maybe that might cause Tyrone to walk the straight and narrow and to use the platform in a way to pursue business opportunities that Sheree hasn't had the acumen or the insight to pursue. So I really do. I really hope that it works out for Sheree. But if I were a betting woman, my bet would be on this relationship faltering very, very soon. Also because I think that they said recently that his probation was not approved, so his incarceration has been extended. And I do believe that she said last night that if it wasn't extended, and I think that all of this information was taped prior to his probation being denied, she said if it was in fact denied, that she would no longer be partnering with him in that relationship. So we'll see what happens with that. Other than that, it was that was pretty much it. Honestly, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that happened. So we all know that they're talking about Sheree being fired from the show. In addition to Sheree being fired, they're also saying that Kim is elected to not come back. Not that she was really present during this episode. Kim pretty much pulled a Tamar Braxton. You know, Tamar Braxton is on the Braxton Family Value show this season, but she's not really on the Braxton Family Value show this season. If you've been watching, you know exactly what I'm referring to. So in any case, Kim has seemed to have checked out permanently. It looks like she just wants to focus on Tardy for the Party, which I think is probably the best move, unless she has some sort of epiphany or change of heart, or maybe has some character coaching. Maybe she goes to Iyanla, has Iyanla fix her life, and she goes back and tries it again. And that's not to say that Kim's the only person on this cast that needs some work, but I definitely think that Kim was stirring the pot this season. And, you know, the pot boiled over and landed in her lap, and she was none too happy about that. Anyway, you guys, that's it for this episode of RealiTEA. So make sure you comment below. Like always, I want to know what you think. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel so inclined. If you don't want to subscribe, oh, I'm fine either way. And always in closing, you guys, remember to live better, love harder, and think smarter. It is me, the Cerebral Diva, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.